Hello, hello Capricorn. Welcome to your February 2020 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Capricorn. And before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you would like to get more readings from yours truly. And of course, you're welcome to check me out on Instagram at Onyx Healing. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one, yes, I do cold psychic readings, not just tarot. Go to onyxhealing.com for all of that good stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this spread out and then we will get started. All right, let's start with your oracle cards. First thing coming up, depth. As new people show up in my life, I look for all the weird, wonderful, complex layers below their surface. I can't be surprised by someone's depth of character unless I'm willing to peel back the outer layers and go a little deeper. It's like the brand new saying goes, don't judge an onion by its haircut. Okay, so I actually see this as the relationships in your life or the quality of people in your life changing in February. So keep in mind, you might have deepening intimacy with those around you. You might actually have higher quality people come into your space who have more depth, especially if you've been in somewhat of a mind-numbing relationship. This is indicating that that's shifting and transforming. And then we have my presence is my power. So this is kind of a call to meditate if you don't do that already. You guys know I could get on my soapbox about meditation, but this is really about being present with yourself, doing what is right for you, being in your body, and that really being where your power comes from. Okay, the central energy for you in February is the Seven of Rods. This is rising above challenges. Anything that feels really defeating, frustrating, or that you're powerless around, this is about kind of emerging from that, using your own light to kind of carry you out of the weeds. Let's see what the crossing energy is first. We have the Ten of Swords. Okay, so this is where, you know, a lot of fear-based thinking, right? All of the catastrophic thoughts, all of the grief, loss, release, right? That's kind of coming up to this part of yourself that's really harnessing your power and your light. So there is definitely a duality piece sitting in the center here. I think it's coupling grief with ascension. It's kind of like shadow and light. You kind of are working with both and feeling into that contrast, and that's a really important part of your growth in February. What's shifting out? The Eight of Swords. So I think that you were probably feeling blind or powerless, or maybe both. Like there's nothing you can do or nothing you can really hold for yourself. It just seems like this is a very defensive mode to be in. And so now it's kind of like this was protective. There's almost an energy of wanting to bury your head in the sand or wanting to escape something. Okay, so that's what's moving out. And instead, you're actually in this place of acceptance and ascension, right? So the Ten of Swords might be accepting that something is the way it is, or it might be accepting that the situation sucks and you'd like it to change, right? That's also okay. It can also be accepting that what you thought was going to work out isn't going to work out. You know, that isn't the right career path or that isn't the right decision. You know, anytime there's something that you desire or want and it's not lining up with what's actually in alignment with you, there's some grief that goes along with that. So whatever this grief is, understand that what's really emerging is the Seven of Rods that's rising above all of this energy. It doesn't mean you bypass it. It just means that you emerge out of it. The oncoming energy is the Six of Cups, soulmate connections, high quality relationships, nostalgia. This is like a big childhood card, right? So that might be reflective. It might be supportive. It might be frustrating. I mean, whatever it is that's coming up around this, It just seems that the situation that's oncoming or the energy that's oncoming is going to put you in a self-reflective state. Now, the second part of this card is very similar to what I mentioned here with depth. The type of people that come into your life in February are really important, or the specific soulmate connections that I'm referring to. And remember, soulmate, no, that doesn't mean the one, okay? That's kind of what's coming through here. It's just that really life-changing, high-quality relationships that are kind of emerging. Okay, let's look at your money, finances. King of Wands, I wouldn't expect anything less with Capricorn energy. This is kind of like you've got it. This is your strong suit. This is your power. And the King of Wands is also really helpful for owning your strength, owning your power, being present with whatever's going on. And that could even, this grief could also be something financial. Even if you're working through that, it's kind of like the Capricorn energy is actually what really supports you and helps you. This King of Wands is just reminding you, you've got it, you have the power, you can do it. This is self-esteem, willpower, strength. Putting all of that behind your finances is going to be really, really profound if you allow yourself to marinate in that energy of, knowing that you really have power over that. Now, this is your relationships, okay? Romantic, platonic, whatever you're focused on will apply. You have the Ace of Wands. Let me clarify this. So this is a big fat yes card for one. So some of you, if you were just holding a question in mind around relationships for this reading, it's kind of like the Ace of Wands paints a yes, but let me see. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so it's kind of like there's more to the story. There's more that's unfolding. So even if you're ultra focused on relationships or there's a relationship that you're in, understand that life is moving. It's constantly unfolding. It's constantly, we get deeper and deeper into these layers that we're working on. And so the Wheel of Fortune is just highlighting that for you. It's just saying, okay, there's more to it. Don't get locked in stagnation, especially around relationships. If you get into black and white thinking around, I'm never going to have relationships, or my relationship is perfect and nothing is ever going to change and nothing is ever going to shift, right? That's kind of where we get really messed up, is when we're in gridlock. And so the Ace of Wands is like, yes, keep moving, keep growing, keep expanding, and understand that there's a lot of time. Give yourself time and space to cultivate what you want in relationships of all varieties. The advice for you is the Three of Swords. Feel the grief. I'm going to clarify this. And remember, this is the advice card. So that means this is more of a process that you have going on in February. Mother of Cups. So it seems that the emotional work that you're doing is definitely tied up into the grief process, the release, the shedding, the unearthing of whatever pain might exist. This is where all of the growth is done. So I can't remember who coined this or where it came from, but bear in mind that it's very hard to grow if you're at a plateau. Right? So some of you might be super fatigued. Maybe you have growth fatigue, right? Sometimes our spirit can get really tired if we've been doing a lot of work. So you might feel that way, but in the same breath, it's like the wisdom, the experience, the resolution, the karma, the healing that comes from the difficult moments, the grief, the processing, is what pushes us forward into expansion. So I'm seeing that is really coming up. It's like the sensitivity, the emotional processing just gets more and more solidified. It just matures with this Mother of Cups. It's kind of like that mastered part of yourself is coming from the shadow or the darkness or the contrast, right? Let's see what is on the horizon. So if you're wondering, like, what's the difference between this and this? This is like near future, right? So Six of Cups is near future. This is farther out. We have the High Priestess. Okay. So there's a lot of your experience that I think, or a lot of work that's being done in the astral. So not necessarily in Earth time, right? And that can be really confusing for people, but it's kind of like the dream state, the astral work, the manifestation work, the energetic work that you're putting behind things. I can't emphasize meditation enough for you. With my presence is my power, plus you have the High Priestess. It's just kind of like you can discover more, you can figure out more if you lean into this, okay? If you lean into the High Priestess energy, it's going to be really helpful for you. Oh, okay, one more thing that's really important, because this is what we've been talking about. You see these pillars right here, the black and the, well, even though it's pink, it would normally be white. Okay, so this is also representing duality as well. So it's like pain and pleasure exist on the same spectrum. Sadness and joy exist on the same spectrum, right? So as we're moving through all of these things, this human thing that we're doing, we experience a wide range on that spectrum. And so there's like a lot of deep karma that's happening in February. This is super karmic-y. That's the best way I can put it. So just try to not jump to conclusions in February. I would definitely stay away from any mental traps, any black and white thinking, like always and never. You know, try to avoid that to the best of your ability this month. Let's get into the timeline. First, second, third, and fourth quarter of February. The first quarter of the month, we have the Nine of Swords. This is fear, right? This is like worried that the other shoe is going to drop. It's the fear that things aren't going to work out. It's all of the mental hypervigilance that we have to have in order to protect ourselves, you know, or at least that's what your brain is going to tell you. Let's see what the second quarter holds. We have the Star. So then you see this is where contrast is really coming in. You have fear and then faith, okay? Right? So that makes complete sense. Fear is coming from a place of this will not work out. This will not turn in my favor. This will not be good. That's the subtext of what's happening here. The Star is things are working out, things are happening behind the scenes, even if you can't see them or don't recognize them. It's that divine intervention, things being lined up, even in ways that you can't imagine. So the Star is just hope, faith, trusting, which is really, that in itself is a practice, right? If you've been burned a few times in your life, it can be really hard to get back on this. You know, if you've been struggling, the Star can be a really hard pill to swallow. The idea that you're just going to trust and let the universe, God, divine source catch you is not easy. That is way easier said than done. So it's kind of like this is a practice in itself, but even if you're not feeling the Star energy, know that it still exists. It's still supporting you. It's still helping your spirit recognize what's going on, even when your body and mind don't. The third quarter, we have the Nine of Chalices, wishes fulfilled, dreams coming true, things working. It seems like things are improving, but I don't know what your emotional body is going to be doing at this time. So whether or not you're able to see this clearly is something that I can't really say. That's going to be more unique to each of you. So, yes, wishes fulfilled, improvement, improvement, improvement. And then fourth quarter, we have the Six of Pentacles. So the phrase that always comes up for this is you get what you give. So reciprocity, I think there is somewhat of a payoff. Like that's the main thing that's coming up here is like there's a major payoff to what you've been doing. There's major healing. There's major reciprocation that's coming in. So it's kind of like you do get to see some rewards. So I think just see February through, like see where you land, where you're actually at. by the end of the month, because it's going to be interesting to see what emerges in that Six of Pentacles space. All right, let's do a 3-card pick. You're welcome to pick a card, any card, ask a question, whatever it is that you need. Card number 1, we have 9 of Cups. Again, make a wish. Ask for what you want, whatever that is. Now, of course, you can't impact free will, but really just consider that more. Consider asking, consider turning things over to whatever you believe in order to help you feel more supported rather than being left out in the cold. Card number 2, we have the Moon. This is confusion, feeling lost, uncertain, ungrounded. The solution here is to ground yourself through the uncertainty. So if you're feeling like you're going bananas, if you can't stay focused or you can't stay grounded, that's also effort that you kind of need to give on your part. And know that you might not have total mental clarity, but that's not necessarily the objective. The objective is to shift the feelings. It's to ground yourself while this really psychic energy is kind of swirling around you, and then know that that will calm down. So I would say, like, get quiet, meditate, ground, do things that are grounding to help support you with this and balance it out. Card number 3, we have the 6 of Coins again. So think about, what energy are you bringing to the table? What are you giving first? What energy are you bringing into things for yourself? And that will also paint a picture of what you can tweak, what you can adjust, where you can go. Because if you understand what your energetics are, like what energy and emotions am I holding in my body, then it's going to make it easier for you to adjust them and fix them or make them more aligned with what you do want to see happen. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one, you guys know I do cold psychic readings, which means I just do an energy check with you and answer all of your questions. There might be some tarot in there. All of the info is on onyxhealing.com, so go check that out. Or you can take a look at the links in the description box. And until next time, have a beautiful February, everybody. I am sending you nothing but love, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.